The story of Prince Harry's latest trip to the United Kingdom began with anticipation, hope, and a carefully managed sense of optimism. After more than a year of silence between father and son, the Duke of Sussex finally arranged a face-to-face reunion with King Charles III at Clarence House. For just 45 minutes, in the privacy of a drawing room filled with memories of past monarchs, Harry and his father spoke. What was said between them has not been revealed, but Harry later described his father as great, a choice of words that sparked attention precisely because of its warmth. It was a moment that seemed to offer a rare glimmer of reconciliation, a pause in the years of anger and estrangement. Yet, as with so many episodes in Harry's turbulent journey since stepping away from royal duties, the hope of healing was quickly overshadowed by his own words, uttered thousands of miles away. From London, Harry traveled on to Ukraine, where he met wounded soldiers and their families as part of his ongoing work with the Invictus Games Foundation. His trip, noble in intention and heartfelt in delivery, should have been the perfect stage to remind the world of his dedication to service. Yet, during an interview on the overnight train to Kiev, Harry could not resist addressing the subject that has haunted the monarchy since 2023, his memoir, Spare. Defending its publication once again, Harry told reporters that the book had simply been a series of corrections to stories already out there. He insisted that he had not aired dirty laundry in public, and most strikingly, declared that his conscience is clear. He even went so far as to suggest that reconciliation with his family was impossible before you have truth. Those words, sharp and uncompromising, reverberated louder than the compassion he showed to injured veterans. For while Harry may have believed he was clarifying his position, royal observers saw something else entirely, another example of his inability to leave the past behind. Jenny Bond, the former BBC royal correspondent, explained bluntly that Harry would have been better to stay zipped about his meeting with his father. His first remark, calling Charles great, was harmless, even welcome. But his decision to double down on the memoir, to insist once more on his version of events, she described as naive. Naive, because the palace had just taken a tentative step toward thawing the frost between father and son. Naive, because Charles, cautious by nature, knows that trust in royal circles is built on discretion and restraint. And naive most of all because of Prince William, a man who guards his privacy, and that of his wife and children with an iron wall. To William, Harry's public insistence that his conscience is unblemished is not a gesture of peace. It is, in the words of Jenny Bond, anathema. For William, discretion is not optional, it is survival. Every word spoken in public has the power to shape how the monarchy is seen, how his children will live their lives, and how history will remember them. Harry's refusal to show even a trace of regret for the raw accusations in Spare, from describing physical fights with William to painting Catherine as cold and unwelcoming, to repeating claims of family prejudice, is seen not as honesty, but as betrayal. Trust, once broken, is not easily mended. And Harry, despite his words of affection for his father, has done little to mend it with his brother. Inside Buckingham Palace, Harry's comments rang alarm bells. Not because he revealed anything new, as Jenny Bond noted, he said nothing that had not already been heard. But because he reminded everyone, once again, that nothing spoken to Harry is safe from the public domain. A private meeting may remain private for a week, a month, or a year, but eventually, the Duke will speak, whether in a book, a podcast, or an interview. For courtiers trained to protect the crown at all costs, this is the nightmare scenario. They understand that reconciliation cannot survive without discretion. And Harry, even when his intentions are noble, seems unable to resist turning private family wounds into public proclamations. The consequences of this latest misstep may not be catastrophic for his fragile détente with Charles. The king, shaped by his own turbulent youth and decades of waiting for the crown, is more forgiving than many realize. He knows the cost of carrying bitterness. His reunion with Harry may survive, because father and son bonds often bend without breaking. But with William, the fracture remains deep, and Harry's words in Ukraine only dug it deeper. Consider the symbolism. Harry sits in a war-torn country, speaking of truth, conscience, and moral clarity. In his mind, he may have been linking the courage of soldiers to his own struggle to speak openly about his past. Yet to William, it will have sounded like a provocation, another lecture from a younger brother who refuses to acknowledge the pain he has caused. The suggestion that reconciliation is impossible without Harry's truth places William in the role of liar or coward, a position he cannot and will not accept. For a man who believes the crown must be defended at all costs, such words are salt in an open wound. And so the cycle continues. Every step forward with Charles seems to be met by 2 steps back with William. Every kind word is followed by a cutting reminder of grievances. Harry's inability to let silence speak for him, his refusal to say no comment, reveals both his strength and his weakness. He is candid, open, and unafraid to voice what others suppress. But in the rigid world of monarchy, where silence is a shield and ambiguity a weapon, such candor is dangerous. This is the tragedy of Prince Harry in the modern royal drama. He seeks truth, yet truth destabilizes. He wants reconciliation, yet his words delay it. He longs for love from his family, yet he tests their trust with every public utterance. When he declared in Kiev that his conscience is clear, he may have believed he was drawing a line under the past. Instead, he ignited new whispers in palace corridors, new doubts about his reliability, and new fears that every private conversation might one day become a headline. What remains is a monarchy struggling to balance old traditions with modern transparency. Charles, weary and aware of his limited time, may still extend his hand to his son. William, steeled by duty and determined to protect his family, may keep his arms firmly folded. And Harry, forever caught between the desire to be heard and the need to be trusted, continues to walk a path where each step echoes louder than he intends. The palace has weathered scandals before, abdications, divorces, tragedies that shook the nation. But this, in its own way, is a quieter crisis. Not a storm of actions, but a drip of words, each one eroding the foundations of trust. In this sense, the Duke of Sussex remains the monarchy's most unpredictable force, capable of drawing global attention to noble causes, yet just as capable of undoing fragile family bonds with a single unguarded sentence. Whether this path leads to reconciliation or permanent estrangement remains uncertain. What is certain is that Harry's words in Ukraine will not be forgotten quickly within palace walls. They will linger in the minds of courtiers, in the thoughts of his brother, and in the weary heart of his father. For in monarchy, as in life, words are not just words. They are weapons, bridges, and barriers, all at once. And Prince Harry, with his clear conscience and restless voice, has once again reminded the world that silence, sometimes, speaks far louder than speech.